Hello, my name is Hope. Welcome back to my channel. I decided today that I wanted to do an analysis of a poem that I really love and that I think reflects life's journey, and I wanted to share it. The poem is called Sadness, and it is by Stephen Dunn. A little backstory on this. I first heard it in my junior year, I think, in my English class. We were analyzing poetry. That poetry unit was the death of me and many of my classmates. We had to analyze it. I'm pretty sure I BS'd it probably. Fast forward to college, my freshman year, I had picked this poem to do a sort of monologue reading in my rhetoric class. I memorized it and I read it over and over again, probably for 2 weeks to myself. Fast forward to my second year in college when I was home for winter break from school, and I found it in my room. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of kept coming back to this poem. Let me read it to my mom. So I was reading it, and out of nowhere, I started crying. Like, the words and the meanings just hit in another way. I was just like, oh my gosh, poetry is so beautiful. Art is so beautiful. Like, I've always thought this, but those moments where life sort of smacks you in the face, I think they're worth speaking about and worth sharing. We love stories. So I went through the poem. I decided that I wanted to share it because I think it shows a lot of coming of age, if you will. And it's very encouraging and motivational, and I think the underlying meaning that I took from it, of course, poetry is subjective. It could mean something completely different to other people who read it. This is just my interpretation, and this was kind of my aha moment. I will read the first part. It was everywhere, in the streets and houses, on farms, and now in the air itself. It had come from history, and we were history, so it had come from us. Firstly, the it is sadness. The part where it says it had come from history, and we were history, so it had come from us. I believe right here that it means that life continues on from the solemn that our ancestors and our parents and any generation above us has felt, specifically familial and generational. Their experiences become ours, and we sort of move forward with those narratives. The second part. I told my artist friends who courted it not to suffer on purpose, not to fall in love with sadness because it would naturally be theirs without assistance. Courted kind of means attract or seek or invite. So you're sort of letting in sadness in a way, not to fall in love with sadness. That part is actually very interesting because I have a writing piece that I wrote a few months ago, and it was talking about how comfortable one can become with feelings of sadness. You can feel comfort in the familiarity of your sadness or reoccurring emotions. It would naturally be theirs without assistance. Sadness will naturally be yours without assistance. So don't seek after it. Life has its ups and downs. It's inevitable. In life, it happens, and people have worse experiences than others. But in the end, we are a resilient species, I believe. I had sad stories of my own, but they made me quiet, the way my parents' failures once did. Nobody's business but our own. And besides, what was left to say these days when the unspeakable was out here being spoken, exhausting all sympathy? Sad stories of my own, of course, that refers to the author and what they were experiencing. And I don't know much history about Stephen Dunn. I would love to get into that. I would understand that he felt silenced by the stories of sadness and solemn, and he listened to his parents and the history and understood that it was unspeakable, right? You're not supposed to speak about the bad things. You're not supposed to tell people your business. When he says the unspeakable is out here being spoken, exhausting all sympathy, I believe that part means that everyone goes through it, so why should anyone feel bad? Which again can be an insensitive outlook on it, but I just think that that's what he's talking about. Moving on. Yet feeling it, how difficult to keep the face's curtains closed. She left, he left, they died. The heart rising into the mouth and eyes, everything so basic, so unhistorical at such times. The heart rising into the mouth and eyes, I think it describes sort of anxiety, to be honest with you, feelings of anxiety, or that the world is caving in, especially if your thought loops are constantly thinking about, where you're stuck and where you're supposed to be. And I think that he's saying that he was on the verge of a breaking point. How difficult to keep the face's curtains closed. How can you not just scream out everything that you're thinking and you know and either give up or just drive forward and forget all the voices and forget all the things that people tell you should be doing. And then too, the woes of others would get in, but mostly I was inured and out to make a decent buck, or in pursuit of some slippery pleasure that was sadness disguised. Inured, I think I looked up the definition, and it's hard for me to put it into context. I believe that he is speaking about being accustomed to believing that you're supposed to fulfill a certain position in your life. And then he says to make a decent buck, so I think that means, pursuing money. Sometimes that can go against the things that you really like to do, especially since we are a capitalist society that just wants to make money and wants to capitalize off of everything. It's hard to stay true to what exactly you're feeling you want to do when there are so many positions in the world that people seem to just fall into, but they're not happy. The in pursuit of some slippery pleasure that was sadness disguised. I believe he's speaking about how you are ignoring your inner voice that pushes you to your life's purpose, and you are seeking distractions. You're attempting to fill a void, and it's not working because you're not addressing the problem, you're just ignoring it. Last part. I found it, it found me. Oh, my artist friends, give it up. Just mix your paints. Stroke. The strokes will unmistakably be yours. This says a lot about individuality and uniqueness. Since sadness will inevitably seep into your life, there's no reason to wait around for it, mainly because there are those moments of up when you're listening to that voice and you're finding what you want to do. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, I apologize. I found it, it found me. That comes in full circle from the beginning of the poem when he says it was everywhere. Sadness is inevitable whether you choose to get lost in it or to move past it and sort of ride the waves of life. Give it up, just mix your paints. The strokes will unmistakably be yours. Give up your pursuit of those slippery pleasures and those things that don't fill who you are. Give up doing the right thing to make other people happy, to fulfill other people's perspectives of who you are and just society's vision of what you're supposed to be. Do what you love. You're going to struggle anyways. It's just going to be a different type of struggle if you're pursuing something you want as opposed to you're pursuing something other people want. There's still going to be moments of sadness. There are going to be moments of, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? You might as well do what you love and find what you're meant to do. Life is scary, but it moves on. So I just wanted to share that poem. I think it says a lot about individuality and pursuing the things that you want to do and sort of ignoring all of those voices. And it's hard. I'm sort of stuck in it too, so I could be considered a hypocrite when talking about this, but how are you supposed to move forward if you're not comfortable talking about what's holding you back? I just wanted to share my newfound love for poetry and my lost love for poetry, because poetry makes you feel, right? And it makes you think too, and that's not always something that people are comfortable doing. I know for a while I wasn't reading poetry and I wasn't seeking out watching romantic movies, for example, because it makes you question yourself, and it makes you question your existence and what you're supposed to be doing, and sometimes you don't want to do that. You just want to passively let things be, and you don't want to actively know what you're searching for. But I am excited to share this with you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please share any pieces of art with me that you think are amazing, and I will love to do more analysis of poems or movies or anything that sort of, you know, shakes the table. I love art and I love speaking about it, and I love history and life. Sometimes it kicks my ass a little bit and I just want to like get in the fetal position. These novelty pieces are the moments where I'm like, okay, I'm acquiring my experiences, and I want to help people, and I want to inspire people, and I want to inspire myself, and I want to do what I want to do in life. Because there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to do what you want to do if you want it bad enough. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video, and always remember to have hope. That was pretty cute if you ask me.